Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars and welcome to another PlayStation review. Today I take a look at Gas Station Simulator on the PlayStation 4. Now this one kind of sneaked out a couple of days ago on the PlayStation, and what a nice surprise it was. This is just my cup of tea. I love games like this, games that are a little bit quirky, a little bit different, that offer a simulation type experience, but you know, with a little bit of its tongue in its cheek. And this game, essentially, you start off right at the beginning. You are given the opportunity to take over a rundown gas station somewhere on Route 66. And you then essentially have to renovate the whole place and make the whole business profitable. So you start off with very few resources. You've got to kind of clean the whole place up. You've got to buy stock. You've got to paint, sweep, get rid of a load of rubbish, and open the gas station so that customers will arrive. Now, customers will arrive and do a number of things. You've got to essentially make sure there's enough parking spaces. So at the start of the game, you've got very limited parking for customers, which you can expand on as the game progresses. As your gas station levels up, you can then put in place extra parking, so extra customers means more money. So customers will want a number of things from your business when they turn up. They'll either want gas, so you've got like your gas filler points, which initially you've only got one, and again, as you level up your gas station, you can expand that so that you've got more gas pump fillers, so to speak, so that you could put more fuel in cars. They will come into the shop, the gas station itself, and buy supplies. So you've got to make sure that you've got you can buy the right shelving for the right product. You've got to kind of order stock in. So you've got to kind of make sure you've got to resupply your fuel for a start. Make sure you've got plenty of fuel in place. You've got to buy the shelving, put it up in the shop, and then buy the right stock for the right shelving. So you can buy things like snacks, cigarette and alcohols, magazines, ice creams, drinks. Even later on in the game, you'll unlock so you can sell like fashion items like clothing and hats and glasses and things like that. So you've got to kind of keep restocking the gas station, because customers will come in and buy the product. That's another area for you to make money. And then at some point in the game, you'll get the option to open the garage, and people will bring their cars in to be repaired. And they will want any number of repairs, ranging from changing the tyres to replacing wing mirrors, to sorting out scratches on the door panels, to putting oil in the car, so on and so forth. And that's a good way to make money fairly early in the game, because that can be quite profitable. For example, I think it costs £50 to buy a tyre, and then when you've put it on the cars, they go on for like £80 per tyre. So you're making quite a bit of profit there. So you've got a number of ways to make money here. In the game, there's other less more criminal ways to make money. For example, you've got a lock picket, and you can like go outside into the parking lot and rob people's boots by picking their locks on their cars and going in the boots and getting money that way. So there's other ways that you can kind of make money. Now, there's a little bit as well of a story here, because essentially you're buying this business from your uncle, and he will constantly get in touch with you through emails, but also like phone calls. There's like a payphone at the front of the gas station. He will ring you once you hit a milestone. He'll ring you and kind of tell you what the next stage is, sort of thing. So each time you kind of level up, he'll give you a phone call. He'll tell you kind of what to prepare for next. It could be any number of things. I mean, there's even storms in the game, and when the storms are finished, you've got to kind of go out, and there'll be like sand piles everywhere on the forecourt. You've got to kind of level them out, sort of thing, to make it easier for your customers to get around. And so it's that constant loop, and it's a really, really addictive gameplay loop, this game. I mean, these games generally tend to have an addictive gameplay loop, but rarely have I seen one that kind of is so addictive like this one. From the moment this came out up to the point of filming this review, really, I've barely stopped playing this game. And it does. You think it would get boring, that gameplay loop of serving customers, fixing cars in the garage, ordering supplies, tidying up the forecourt, painting, decorating, and all that kind of. It just doesn't get boring at all. It's just a really fun gameplay loop because it feels like you're kind of doing different things all the time. You're not doing the same thing all the time. And in between, if you do get bored, there's no real punishment. If you just want to go around and paint all the whole forecourt and make it look better, you can do that. You can spend a good hour painting your whole gas station, and there's no real punishment. Yes, your customers will drive away and you won't level up as quick, but there's no real punishment if you want to really take the time and clear away all the rubbish. And also, it does get to a point in this game where you can then hire employees. So to hire your first employee, for example, you've got to kind of buy a trailer for them to live in on site. So you buy this trailer and then you will employ a member of staff, and they'll be skilled in certain areas, but it doesn't necessarily matter if they're only level 1 in each area, because you can distribute them wherever you want. You can ask them to fill the cars, you can ask them to work at the cash register, you can ask them to work in the garage, and you can ask them to kind of keep the place clean and tidy. It's really up to you. And you can hire I think it's 4 members of staff eventually. But each member of staff that you hire, you've got to buy a fresh trailer for them. And they need paying as well. And they need rest. So in between their rest periods, when they're having a rest, recharging, so to speak, you kind of have to pick up the slack and do their duties. Or if you're too greedy, you can just keep, flitting between each kind of job if you really want to do that. It does. I found it does make it a bit easier to hire a couple of employees later on in the game. And to level up the gas station as well, you've got to complete a number of challenges. And it could be receive tips from customers. So you've got to get 100 tips, and then it might also be you've got to serve 100 customers at the gas station. You've got to serve 150 customers at the cash register. You've got to fix 50 cars. You can see there in the right hand side there the challenges. It gives you a number of challenges, and once you've completed those challenges, it will allow you to level up the gas station. And once you level up, it gives you more space in your gas station to put more shelving so that you can sell more products. Everything looks a little bit neater and tidier. So eventually you'll get to the point where you've got a really nice, fancy, modern kind of gas station out on Route 66. It's going to be brimming with customers, brimming with different people wanting different things. And it's really a satisfying gameplay loop that I genuinely have been having an absolute ball with. I've played quite a few simulator games on the channel, and I've reviewed an awful lot of them on the channel. Some of them, eventually they kind of get a little bit boring, or they kind of let themselves down with some gameplay mechanics. Now, the biggest problem I found with this in regards to glitches and stuff is occasionally you'll order the fuel and you'll spend like $200 or $300 on the fuel, and then the fuel truck doesn't turn up for some reason, and you just don't understand it. So you kind of almost have to reload the game and see if that helps, and if it doesn't, the only thing I could find that worked was order some food supplies first before you order like the fuel supplies, and that seemed to work. So there are some quirks in the game that don't make an awful lot of sense. Sometimes some of the characters will glide across the floor rather than walking, but be honest, guys, you don't buy this game for the way it looks, because to be fair, it doesn't look great. You buy it for its quirky gameplay and the way it kind of presents itself, and it doesn't really disappoint on that front. I have to say, for the price that you pay for this, I think it's worth it. I think it's one of those games that you're going to get an awful lot of enjoyment out of, and a lot of real genuine fun playing. I play a lot of these games, and I certainly have had an absolute ball with this one, and it's a game I will definitely be playing for some time to come. So I think it's definitely worth picking up. If you're just not sure, then obviously wait for a sale, but it's not an expensive game. So yeah, that's my review for Gas Station Simulator. I hope you enjoyed this review. I definitely hope you find it useful, and I will of course be back with more content on the channel very, very soon.